This is Gemara Sanhedrin Daf Samoch Aleph. We pick it up in the bottom of Samoch Amid Beis. The second wide line of learning should be an incredible zchos rafua shlema b'siyata d'shmaya for Tinok ben Miriam Ahuva. So we're on the second wide line, and we begin Amar Mar, quoting the brisa that we just said. It says the Gemara, Amar Mar hayisi oimer b'zaveach kachim b'achot hakasem medaber. There was a havamina that what are we discussing? When the pasuk says that one who shechs should be killed, that the pasuk is referring to one who shechs kachim bachotz. Asks the Gemara, but wait, zaver kachim bachotz karisu. Someone who shechs kachim bachotz is chayiv in karis and not misas bezdin. So we suggested in the brayse that's misas bezdin, but says the Gemara, but we know that it's a chayiv karis. Answers the Gemara, salgadei dechamina. I would have thought ki asru bay that when one gets hasra, that if he does this avera, he's going to get killed. Then indeed, katala, then he'll get killed. Ki lo yasru bay kares. So we would think that both are true. If he has asra, he gets killed by bezdin. If he doesn't have asra, then it's kares. Kamash malan. So that's going to be the chiddush. That what says the Gemara to the pasuk, that it's only going to be that if you're zaveach again to avodah zara, and not if it is bachutz. Again, we're now honing in on the unique forms of avodah zara that have a chiyuv misas bezdin. So now we're learning that if you're zaveach bachutz, that doesn't have a misa bezdin, but that would have karis. Continues the Gemara. Amar le Rava bar Rav Chanan le'Abaya. Rava bar Rav Chanan said to Abaya, Ema yatsa shtachavaya l'lamid al klal kulay. Why don't we say that a shtachavaya is singled out, and that should teach us that one would get skila for any form of worshiping avodah zara. If you're going to say zaveach, why would the pasuk say zaveach? You know why? Ligufei, to teach us the din of zaveach itself. That what? To teach us that we do indeed have when there's kavana from one avodah to the next. What does that mean? We learned on 2 lines on the bottom. So nu shechs an animal. So does the shchita b'kavana with the mindset to do the zrika la'avodah zara. Or to burn the fat avodah zara. What's the halacha? Rav Yochanan Amar teaches Rav Yochanan as we turn over to today's daf of Samach Aleph Amid Aleph teaches Rav Yochanan the halacha is such a kavana makes it asura. Reish Lakish Amar no mutaretz. So explains the Gemara. So we have this machlokes Rav Yochanan and Reish Lakish. So explains the Gemara, Hanicha Rav Yochanan. So according to Rav Yochanan, then everything makes sense. Why? Because we don't need a pasuk. Ela Reish Lakish ba'ikra, but according to Reish Lakish, we need a pasuk. So maybe the reason the pasuk says zeveach is to teach us that halacha itself, but we cannot learn and extrapolate to anything else. So says the Gemara, maskif. Now this is obviously weird because we just had a kasha, now we're saying maskif. So what the Gemara is doing right now is we have a kasha within Reish Lakish, and then we're going to circle back around to our original question. So maskif l'Rav Papa, wait l'Rav Yochanan lo yikra. Why not? Ad kan lo kas Rav Yochanan ela behema aval gavra lavar katalahu. Says the Gemara, until this moment, the only thing that we made aser was the animal itself. Aval gavra, but the person that was over the aveira, lav lebar katalu, we're not the chiyuv misa. And that specifically, maybe that's what you need the pasuk to teach us. Responds the Gemara, and again, these words maskiv are a little bit challenging because this was a kasha and Reish Lakish. And now, Rav Acha Breid Ravika is asking a kasha, meaning having a rebuttal to the kasha. Well, Reish Lakish be ba'ikra. But even according to Reish Lakish, do you really need a pasuk? Reish Lakish ala behema. Aval Gavra, but the person himself, we get killed. Similar to one who bows down to a mountain. The halacha is the mountain itself is mutter, but Va'ivda, the one that worshipped it, is Bisayif. So responds the Gemara that we would indeed need the pasuk for something. And therefore, a kasha and a kasha is a teretz, and there's no longer any kasha. Continues the Gemara, 1 second. Amar le Rav Achi difti le Ravina. Lemai, ask Rav Achi difti Ravina, lemai de ka'amar le Rava, by Rav Chanan l'Abaya. That was Rav Chanan said to Abaya, Ema yotza shtachavaya lelamed ala klal kula. Why don't we say that shtachavaya singled out to serve and to teach that skila applies to any form of worshiping the Avodah Zarah, even in the abnormal, not regular form. Echa yavdu lemutei mai. But if that would be true, then when the pasuk says, "How do these peoples worship Avodah Zarah?" What would that pasuk be coming to exclude? Echa yavdu lemutei mai v'chitim. If you're going to tell me lemutei apoyiratz or lizvachim, someone who uses the bathroom to an idol that normally you shechta carbon to. Meishtachavaya nafka. Ma'ishtachavaya der kibud, avkol der kibud. And using the bathroom in front of the Avodah Zarah is not kibud. So says the Gemara. So how do we know that's not the limud? Ella lemutein. Well, it comes to exclude apoyer atzmei lemarkulis. Someone who uses the bathroom to the Avodah Zarah markulis. Now what? So kedei dechamina hoyel va'avodah soy. Bizayah, either way, the way you serve markulas is in a bizayandik manner. What was the way you worshipped it? We saw yesterday you throw stones at it. So I would have thought any form of bizayandik avodah avkol bizayah in kamash malan. That's not the case. Says the Gemara. But wait, Alahada Amar Rav Elazar Menayin Lezaveach Behema LeMarkulis Shu Chayiv Shenemar V'Lo Yizavchu Oidziv Chayim L'Sirim. Says the apostle, you can't worship, you can't serve any sacrifices to the demons. If you don't need it for the normal case, why not? Because the apostle already says, how do they serve their gods? So therefore, we'll have an extra apostle Taneo Inyan, an extra apostle L'Shaloi Kedarka. So says the Gemara, we'd have a apostle to teach us any form of serving the Avodah Zarah in this abnormal manner. Says the Gemara, wait, Shaloi Kedarka, Mishtachavaya Nafka. Shaloi Kedarka, we learn how from Mishtachavaya. So why do we need a pasuk for that? Hasam bizaveach lahachis, says the Gemara. One who slaughters out of spite, to anger, that's going to be the time that we need the pasuk for it. And that wraps up part A of today's shir, learning out the special and unique halacha of when there is such a chiyuv to worship Avodah Zarah and when there's going to be the chiyuv misa. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam v'hakol. Says the Gemara, Rav Hamnuna archisu le'turei. Rav Hamnuna lost a bunch of oxen. Pagabei Rav, he bumped into Rabba. Rav Malay Masitina Dadi, and he asked the following kasha. Tanan, we learned in the Mishnah. Ha'oiv avodas kachavim is chayiv misa is chayiv skila. From here we can learn now to oived in eimerloi, that only by serving it, but not by oimer, not by saying he'll serve it, then there's not going to be a chayiv skila. Ask the Gemara, I banan tanan oimer la'akom ha'oimer, avoid. Someone says, I will serve an idol, elech ve'avoid, or I will go and serve nilech ve'avoid. Let us go and serve. He does get skila. So when Rav Hamnuna is looking for his oxen, Rabba bumps into him and asks him this stira in Mishnayis. Amar Loi, Rav Hamnuna responds, Ba'oimer. The Mishnah is talking about a case, Ini mekablo lai ella be'avoida. The Mishnah is talking about a case where the person said, I'll accept Avodah Zarah only with my service. So therefore, we see that even though it was an amira that's going to facilitate an act of avoida, and that's where there's chiyuv skila. A second teretz of Yosef Amar, Tanai Shakli Malma. You're throwing different Mishnayos, Yosef Gesir and Tanaim. Tanai, it's Machlekes Tanaim, Titania. We learned in a bright time, Meriv says, Bovav Duni. Come, let us serve. Ramir Mechayiv, Rav Yudah Pai. Turn Rav Yudah says his potter. So says the Gemara, Hey, Chadapalchul Kuli Amalei Pligi. What is the case? If they actually went and worshipped, everyone agrees chayiv. Keep dersev, as the pasuk says, lo yisasu l'cha pesach. Keep pligi, what's the machlekes v'dibura be'alma? The machlekes is regarding dibur, where someone spoke but no one listened. Rameir savar dibura milsi. Rav Yehuda savar dibura lav milsahi. So what do we see? Yes, you asked me a stira in Mishnayis, but responds Rav Lamnuna, indeed, it is a stira. This is a machlekes tanayim. Says the Gemara, Hadamar Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef retracted and said, no. La milsi damri. Dafil Rav Yehuda b'dibur nami mechayiv mechayiv. Even Rav Yehuda is going to hold your chayiv. The Tanya, Rav Yehuda, Imer Laila meinoi chayiv ad sheyoymar evoid, or elech vevoid, or nelech v'nevad. So says the Gemara, so what is the machlekes Rameir and Rav Yehuda? If Rav Yehuda now is joining the team to say that you're chayiv for mere dibur, for words, says the Gemara, what's the machlekes? The machlekes is going to be where one instigates others to worship him. And they respond in yes. So Mar Savar Amir holds misiach. If someone instigates others to worship himself, Shamile, they're going to listen. And when someone says yes, it means that that's really what they feel. Therefore, there's going to be a chiyuv. Umar Savar Rav Yudos, no one listens. So someone says, come and worship me. Why? Because Meimar Amar. Because the one that hears such a ridiculous thing thinks to himself, what is the difference between him and me? This random guy is coming to me and he's saying he's an Avodah Zarah. As we turn over to the top line of Samachal and saying I should worship him. He says, yeah, that was him joking around with him. Says the Gemara, so now we understand what the two Mishnayos are referring to. Umasnitin, now that you're going to tell me the two Mishnayos, can be Yachid Hanisis, can be Rabim Hanisis. One is where a single person says it, one is where a group of people said such. Explains the Gemara, Yachid Loi Mimlach. A singular person, when he agrees to worship an idol, is not going to reconsider. V'tohi basrei. And people are going to listen to him. Rabim Imlechu v'lo tohi basrei. People are not going to stray after. If a group of people agree, eventually, so they're going to back out. Amar Rav Yesi, where do I know this from? Says the pasuk in, where's the pasuk? In Devarim, they're not going to listen to him, and not listen to him. This means, ha'ava v'shama, if he did, then chayiv. Asks the Gemara on this teretz of Rav Yosef. Eisvei Abaye comes along Abaye and he asks 6 lines down. Is there such a chelik? Vatanya asks Abaye. We learned in a brayso, says the pasuk, if your brother, the son of your mother, instigates, and from here we learn out says the brayso. Whether it's a singular person, whether it's a rabbim, and a singular person is taken out of a rabbim. V'rabim mechlal yachid, and a rabbim is different than a yachid. Yachid mechlal rabbim, what does that mean? Lahachmir, to be stringent, al gufay ulahakal amaynoi, that he gets killed, but his money is mutter. Rabbim mechlal yachid lakal al gufam, that they themselves don't kill lahachmir amaynam. But we're going to be stringent on their money. So what's from this price? So what do we see? That only in this one detail, this detail is there a difference between a yachid that agrees to worship a zara, a singular person, and a rabbim. Everything else, they're going to be the same. There's going to be no difference whether responds as a yachid or a rabbim to worship an idol, not like the teretz of Rav Yosef. So therefore, Elam or Abaye, 6 lines in the wide lines. First one line is Khan, explains Abaye a different teretz. Khan b'nisis b'mni atzam, Khan b'nisis mipi acherim, whether it was on his own or whether it was with other people. Explains Abaye, mipi atzmai mimlach. If he does it on his own, he's going to reconsider. Mipi acherim, but if he's instigated by others, then we have to be concerned. Garer Basrei is going to be drawn after them, and that's the reason why he's more likely to actually follow through, and that's why there's going to be the Chiyav Misa. Amar Abaye Aminu Aminu, what's my Mekar? Tachsiv says the Pasuk Sav Eloi V'lo Sishma Elov. The same Pasuk. Ha'ava V'shama, then Chayiv. That's Abaye's teretz. We had Rav Yosef's teretz, which was questioned. Subsequently, Abaye had his teretz. And now a third potential avenue comes along Rava. Rava Amar says, Rava, 2 lines on the white lines. Idi v'idi v'nisim ni'achirim. And again, we're trying to figure out the difference in Mishnayos when one agrees to worship an avodah zara. Says the Gemara, in one Mishnah, says the Gemara, when you're chayiv, when he says, I'm going to serve the avodah zara, is where he was told, this is what the idol eats, drinks, benefits, harms. Whereas in the other Mishnah, for the conscious, will have the teretz, he wasn't told in such specifics. And Amar Rav, where do I know this from? Mana Amina Allah in the second white line, Dechsev, says the Pasuk, Melokeo Amim. I share it to be Vosechem Akrevim Alecha. For the gods of the people that are around you. Mali Krevim Mali Rachikim. What does the Pasuk mean that are near to you? Hachi Garmalei Metivusan Shel Krevim. What he's trying to say is, from the nature of those who are close by, Ataloy Min Mativusan Shel Rachikim, we can learn the difference of those who are not close by. My love, says the Gemara, that when he is particular in exactly the way the idol is worshipped, that's when there will be a chiyuv misa by agreeing, even in Dibur, to worship it as such. And a fourth teretz, again, Rav Yosef, Abaye, Rava, now Rav Ashi Amar Seifa, be Yisrael. When someone says, I'm going to serve as chayiv, is be Yisrael, murmur a yid who is off the derech. Ravina Amar, fifth teretz, loizu avzu katani. Not only this, but that. Not only are you chayiv for serving, but even for dibur, meaning both mishnayos is not a stira. The first mishnah is saying the shpitz you serve. The second one is saying even bedimer. And we end off with one last discussion of the day. Itmar in the 6th white line. Out of love and out of fear of another person. You worship the idol. In Eloi, what does it mean? Did you accept it as a God, or did you not accept it as a God? It doesn't mean that you did it because of another person. Therefore, Rava says you're going to be pater. Pick it up from here. B'siyata d'ishmaya.